In this video, we'll be talking with Dave, who's a student in my complete publishing program, and discussing how exactly he built his Amazon KDP business to over $16,000 per month in net profit, and his plan on hitting over $100,000 a month this December. Now, this is a student success interview series that I often do in my program. We have over 20 interviews and we're constantly adding more. So if you guys want to check it out and perhaps join the best publishing community on the planet, then check out the first link in the description below. And with that being said, enjoy the video. All right, guys, welcome back to another publishing success case study. Today, we are talking to Dave. Dave has been in the Road to Hero program for around how long now?
It's been around I think August of last year. I would say I joined Elite, and maybe I joined the regular course like a month before that, before you guys had Elite. So it's been just about a year.
Yeah, I think you joined the Elite program, which is like a one-on-one mentorship program. So you're working with our head coach, Charlie, directly, right when it came out, right? So can you tell us about like how that's been going? Or actually, let's start with like how much you're making from your KDP business right now.
Yeah, man. So I started up in August, started planning books out. Didn't get the first one published until like mid-January, and then basically been publishing minimum one book a month since then. So basically, we're like 8 months into that, right? And I did have a few books before then. I had a few like successful dating books, under my name, in that niche, that were doing decently. So even before this, I was doing maybe 2,500 a month in profit just from those, from books I wrote years ago, right? Now being in here a year, having released that first book in January, this month I should hit around 16K in profit. And then and that's basically been going up like 2 to 3K a month. Like last month was like 13K. The month before that was like 9K. So it's going up like 2 to 4K each month with the more books that I publish.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. So you started when you joined the program, you said you were doing about $2,500 a month,
Something
right?
like that. Yep.
2,500. And is that profit or revenue?
So yeah, I mean, so it's roughly 2K to 2,500 profits, I would say, after counting like Amazon ad. I wasn't using like AdsDroid or anything. I was very like bare bones. It wasn't something I really focused on. It was just I had this one book, Conversation Casanova, that blew up like in 2016, and so it was mostly coming from that book. I just didn't even really think too much about it while I was running other businesses.
Gotcha. And then from there, yeah, I remember like every month you're posting new milestone, and you hit like 8K profit, 10K profit. Now you're telling me it's at 16K profit, right? And you're adding like 3K a month in actual profit every month, which is pretty awesome to see. It's always nice to see students winning. In December, what are you on track on hitting in December? What is your goal?
I'm going hard, man. So like right now, I'm actually I've done all high content up to this point, right? But after talking to Charlie, I realized like, okay, Q4 is coming up. I want to, and I like to go dive super deep into the niche. Like I'm not the kind of guy that does like 2, 3 books or hops around and say, all right, I want to milk this niche dry, like any niche that I go into, right? And so like I've thought through medium content books that could go well in my niche. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to launch 4 medium content books next month, between next month and like early October. And basically every book that I launch, like I at minimum it's like 1,500 to 3K a month in ads. I'm going to hit it with, right? So and I'm planning, and I've talked to Ivan from AdsDroid about this in terms of like what the multiples are going to be. We're planning to go as high as like 2 to 3x. What we're spending now on ads for December, because I never had like a huge Q4, because I haven't had Q4 books really, and taking it this seriously. So I mean, really the goals are like 60K ad spend in December, and hopefully even more than that in profit. We'll see. If we can 3 4x the profit from where we're at now, that would bring us to like 60 70K, and that doesn't even factor in the new books I'm going to be launching. So we'll see. I guess high goal would be 100K, but who knows? We'll take it one step at a time.
Yeah, I think at the rate that you're growing and building this, I think 100K December is possible. I mean, we've had students do it, right? So, and I've seen it from a couple other people too. So super excited to see that were you doing that, and hopefully you post in the group as well. But so you're starting to transition into medium content, but your current brand is mainly high content, right?
Yep, exactly.
And is for this medium content, are you building it in the same brand, so you got your high content brand, and now you're doing like a medium content for the same pen
Because it's
name.
under the same, it's all under the same brand, same umbrella.
Yeah,
I've created my brand name with a little bit of flexibility there, just the way that I did it. And I can't give out too much on that because it might give it away.
yeah.
But like I've done it in that way so that I could have that flexibility. But even so, the medium content book is for a similar audience. So I try not to just get like I tried to go to adjacent niches as well, basically.
That makes sense. And you know how like you were publishing before you joined the program? Are you still building the same pen name, or did you start a new one?
Am I building the same pen name? So I still have it all under the same pen name right now, but I'm actually teaming up with a buddy of mine because he's seen the success that we've been having, that I've been having with this, and I only have so much free cash flow that I can dedicate to launching books, right? And so I'm like, okay, how do I do this faster? So I'm teaming up with him to go under a different niche and tackle like a new pen, like a completely new pen name. So I've been working on creating books around that. Hoping to launch those in like late September and just get ready for a big Q4 with those books too. And what we're doing is he's handling all the expenses. He's a high net worth guy, makes it easy. He's budgeted like 30, 40K for these first separate launches that we're going to do. And then, and then we're just going to go hard from there. And so he handles the 100% of the expenses, and then we're going to split the profits once we break even, 50-50.
50-50. So you do all the work.
Yeah.
He provides the cash, right? And then you split 50-50. How do you actually like structure that? Because I've never done a partnership, right? Do you have to like you just whipped up a contract and then it's his account, his name, his LLC, or
Yeah, so he started LLC. My name's not on it at all because I
yeah.
mean, like that gets a little hairy with Amazon. So it's all under his stuff. I'm tracking all the expenses. He set up a bank account that I have access to. I think it's on Mercury. And basically, what it's gonna like, I'm tracking all the expenses meticulously, the same way I do with mine. So we'll know exactly when the break even point is. And like he took out a credit card, we're gonna split the points on that. He's generous enough to do that. I mean, we're good friends. We have a lot of trust. We've lived together and stuff like that too, so that helps. And yeah, I mean, we basically, like, I basically laid out like, hey, this is how much you can expect to spend, or how much you should expect to spend for like these first like 3 to 6 launches. If to go really hard, like the same way I'm doing, where it's like minimum 1,500 to 3K a month in ads per book. The cost of the books, all that, he agreed to it, and we're basically getting ready to go hard. So I mean, that's basically been the strategy. We'll see how it plays out, but I think it should be good.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I guess like you do have to trust the other person, a lot, and in your case you do, so it works out. And
Well, my strategy with partnerships, I try not to go into them unless I've known a guy for years in different senses, and like that's always how I've done it. That's it's always worked out.
yeah, for sure. And you guys are going hard with ad spend. People who watch this will probably be like, "Oh my God, like, do I have to spend like 1.5 to 3K per book, to do it?" But
Well, I started with my first book. I started doing like 1,500 to 2K per month, and it was just that, right? And then I launched the next one. The first one started to become profitable. Started dumping that to the next one, and then it just kept going. Now you do get to a point when you're going this fast to where you're scaling faster than the revenue is increasing, right? So for example, like this month, I'm probably going to make like 30, maybe a little over 30, like 33, 34K in like royalty revenue between ACX and KDP. And my ad spend is probably going to be around like 19, 20K. But my royalties from like 2 months ago were around 20K. So like, and you get paid out for those 2 months later, right? So it's like like cash flow wise, I'm still kind of breaking even because I'm scaling so fast. But that's going to get to a point where that kind of evens out very soon here, especially as we get to Q4 and we get to next year, to where it's going to be a lot more, right? That's just kind of the price of scaling quickly.
yeah, that's the only thing with KDP is the delay in payments, right? Like you can't really scale as quickly as you want because it takes 3 months to get paid, or 2 months, right? So yeah, it's like with other business, you get paid in a couple days, you just dump it back into the business and more ads, and you just
Yeah.
keep going quicker. So like, yeah, KDP is not the best in that way. It's great in like so many other ways, but
Yeah. Well, I think after you get past the first like 12, 13 months, it becomes a lot easier you've caught up at that point, right? Like by like January, February of next year, I'm getting these Q4 paychecks that, let's say it's 100K or something. Well, I'm going to be in the clear. My ad spend is going to be a lot less in January, right? So it will catch up, but I'm not waiting for it to catch up. I'm just trying to move as fast as possible because I have some extra money I can just toss at it and that kind of thing. So, but I could scale it more slowly if I needed to, but yeah.
Yeah, you're just going ham. Like, for those like other people who are like afraid of doing that and like kind of breaking even or like investing some money more than they make back, you just slow down, right? You slow down until you get paid from KDP and then you take the profit and reinvest it. So it's not like you need a ton of money to start. It does help with the speed aspect of it, but pretty much anybody in different budget, I think, can do it. There's a way to move forward.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I didn't have a bunch of free cash flow, what I probably would have done is do I would have done one of those interest-free credit cards for like when you get like 12 to 24 months of interest-free debt that you can take out. Like I would have done that and just gone hard with that, right? I almost thought of doing that anyway, but then decided against it. And I have like a big chunk of I have a big credit line I can use with like Amex Gold and just get tons of airline miles. So I decided to do that instead. But yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense too. So we're kind of like jumping into it, right into like the strategies and stuff, but like I want to backtrack a little bit and go into like how did you initially discover publishing? What's the story there?
It was funny, man, because I actually talked to you back in, me and you had a call back in like 2019, I want to say, for a book that I launched. This was back when I can't remember so you were on some platform offering calls for like 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes or something. I mean, you
Yeah.
hopped on for 15 minutes and kind of game plans like a launch from back in the day. But I actually for my business partner, this guy had a beast. We have a dating business that we've run together for years, right? And I known him since back in 2014. He was actually publishing books like back then, 2013, 2014, that did really well. I saw that. I tried launching a book in 2014, had no idea about keywords, anything like that, and didn't really do too well. It's funny enough, actually now, because it still sells like $50, $60 a month now after all my other books have taken off. Right? In this book I wrote 10 years ago, that had no idea what I was doing. But then, I took a break for a couple of years, wrote this other book, Conversation Casanova, back in 2016. And then for whatever reason, again, that wasn't like super keyword research or whatever, but it just like took off. It was pretty like consistently making like 5 to 6K plus a month without ads. Like I wasn't even running ads for the years to it. And this is back in the days where you could just do it organic, like the good old days. But I guess it was a completely different landscape in Amazon back then, right? But I didn't realize that publishing was this whole thing. I never really thought about having a pen name, doing something else. It never occurred to me. I started seeing more and more of your videos though, and I was like, like I would like to diversify my income outside of just being under my brand, my name, because I'm getting kind of tired of making videos and writing books under my name, all this stuff. I like to diversify, right? I was like, what if I can do that? Like why not create a pen name and like hammer out Sean's strategy and see if it can work? And so that idea was kicking around my head for a year or two. Then I eventually joined a program. And as soon as you had the elite thing, I was like, all right, that's definitely for me. Because I hire a consultant like in anything that I go into, and I basically just go hard. If I decide to go all in, like I'm all in, and that's basically what I did. That was kind of the whole process.
Yeah, I'm the same. I always try to hire coaches, not just courses, to go as fast as I can. How's that experience going for you? Like, joining Elite, you're working with Charlie, our head coach, one-on-one. Yeah, how is it going for you?
It's good, man. Like right from the beginning, I did that. I had first call to Charlie, and I was like, all right, I'm going all in. I'm ready to go here. And we basically made a big game plan for the books I was gonna launch, the keywords I was gonna tackle, what the pen name was gonna be, everything like that, and basically just started going hard. Made a few mistakes along the way. I think I hired like a really bad ghostwriter, which you might know about that experience. I hired a really bad ghostwriter at the beginning. That wasn't a good experience. Rebounded from that, started finding some good writers off of Upwork, thanks to Charlie's tips and help. He's helped me every step of the way as far as like anytime I have a question, if I need like book cover reviews, guidance, like, and he'll go hard too. So probably this isn't good enough. I'll do like 3, 4 more iterations until it's on point, and I know it's better than anything else. So what's been good about the elite and having Charlie, just the program in general, number one, like the accountability, just knowing like, hey, I have a few calls a month where we're going to be able to kind of have a reset, and I'm going to know, hey, like this is what I need to do. This is going to be sort of like we're going to game plan for the next month, for the next 2 weeks. I'm going to execute what needs to be done, and just keep going from there. And that's basically made it so that I could launch a book every month, or really at the rate that I've been going, like every 3 weeks consistently, since January, right? Without that, there's just no way that I would have done it the right way, or like with the quality that I've done it. Because I really do think like every book that I've done is by far and away the best book in its niche. That would just wouldn't have been possible if I was doing it on my own.
Yeah, for sure. I think the biggest thing is getting confirmation, right? Like getting your keyword checked, making sure that it's good, getting your cover checked. If you're just getting started, you don't know if it's like actually good, if you're doing it properly. So nice to hear that it's working out well. So you said every book you publish is doing pretty good, or do you have some books that, doesn't really take off, but some do, and is the 80/20 rule, working in this case, or how's it going for you?
I mean, they're actually all doing well. Like I have several books making. I would say pretty much every book that I've launched under the pen name is doing over $100 a day. A couple of them are doing over $200 to $300 a day. And then really the only one that's not doing amazing, I kind of knew it wasn't going to do amazing. It wasn't a super high potential book, but it was just sort of to be like I did it because it was going to be part of a bundle. So that was fine with that. That's like a low ad spend book. That was kind of what I expected. I basically picked keywords. I'm like, okay, I know I can hit this hard. I know it can have high potential, and go from there. Now, I know it's not going to be able to happen with every book, especially the deeper you go into a niche. Not every book can be a home run. There's going to be some books that only make a few hundred or a few, like 500 to 1,000 a month or something, and you got to be okay with those too. But yeah, I mean, I've definitely had a few home runs so far.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And even the ones that doesn't do well, right? You just let it sit and it just keeps selling even a little bit, every single month. Like the one that you published, like you said back in 2014 or something, it's doing like $50 a month still, right? Or
Yeah,
uh,
I've never run a dollar of ads to that book, but it sells because I have like 6 dating books under my name, and so like there's people that buy those, and then they go all the way back to my last book from 10 years ago. Me just super juvenile, just writing that book when I was like 24, and then they just buy that too. Why not?
yeah, yeah, that's so sick. Yeah, publishing is crazy. Like literally one of the most passive or the most passive thing that I've ever done. Besides like maybe dividend investing, that's more passive. But business wise, I think
Yeah.
publishing is like pretty passive. But in terms of so, you obviously got your own personal brand, your audience, but just to clarify, your new pen name that you're crushing it with, you started from scratch in a whole new niche, right? You're not using
Yeah,
your
it has
audience.
nothing to do with my personal brand. Like I have like 100,000 plus followers on Instagram, bunch of email subscribers, nothing at all to do with any of that. I've never used that for this new pen name at all. I wanted it to be completely separate. So that was all part of the method that I was planning for.
Gotcha. And how many books do you have total right now? Or I guess
Right
like
now I've
for that new niche.
Yeah, so in total I have 15 books, and then for the new niche I have I think nine, like 8 or 9, and then continuing to launch a new one every month, and then like I'm doing 4 next month in preparation for Q4. So that number is going to go up a lot, over these next couple months. But yeah, right now it's
Yeah.
around 9.
Yeah, you're going ham. Um, and you just use so for the high content books, you mainly just outsource everything, the cover designer, ghostwriter. Do you do any parts
Yeah,
yourself?
so I do some of the editing myself. So I have like I worked hard to find good writers, and basically I would go through Upwork. I would get samples. I found a really good editor who I hand off the samples to. He signs off. Like I have an idea if they're good or not, but like I only send him the ones that I think are decent, and then he'll do like the hard fine tuning. Hey, this writer sucks, or hey, this writer has potential. I'll have them start writing the book if it's a new writer. If it's a tried and true writer, I'll just have them get right after it. So I have like 2 or 3. I have 2 like go-to writers right now. I'm working on finding a third and fourth for these new niches I'm going into. So I have that. I have my medium content people that I've been kind of been building that. I have my designer. I have people on every sort of aspect or element of the business. But as far as, sorry, what was the beginning of that question? I
No,
lost track there.
I was just curious, like if you do any parts yourself or if you mainly
Oh
just
yeah.
have a team.
Well, yeah. This kind of goes back to another part I liked about the Amazon stuff was that I'm a really good writer, right? Like I understand how to write well and what good writing looks like, right? Which maybe a lot of people don't know. I don't know, right? But it's something like I've always been able to. Like I've read a lot of these books myself, so that makes me a decent editor. Like I can go through and I can tell if writing is good. So when a writer submits a milestone to me, I'll go through, look at it myself. I'll break it down. I'll make suggestions, comments. So I kind of do the first edit myself, which right now, because I'm only doing a book a month or a book every 3 weeks, is still doable. If I start getting into multiple books a month, it's going to be a little tough to do that, especially, it could get harder to where I have to hire that part out, like that pre-editing, I guess you could call it. So that's the main thing that I do, as well as like the planning phases. I come up with the cover concepts before I hand it to my designer. Thanks to I talked through every cover concept with Charlie as well, which helps. Title ideas, I come up with that myself. Those are the main things. And then everything else, I try to delegate as much as I can.
Yeah. So like 90% you're outsourcing, delegating. How much time do you spend a day? Like how many hours do you think you work on your KDP business?
Well, right now I'm going hard because I'm trying to do all these media content books for for like the next like 3 to 4 weeks, and I had no idea how to do any of them before. So like I've been going hard on that, working more than I usually would. But back like a month or two ago, when I was still making 12, 13K a month, I was maybe putting in like 5 to 6 hours a week, 5, 10 hours maybe. Now it's a little bit more, but this is also going to be like a phase to where it's going to go down again. Once I get these books out, it's going to go back down to around 10 hours a week or less.
Yeah.
So that's the beauty of it. You can go as hard as you want or as lax as you want.
Yeah. The medium content niche, low content too, like low content, medium content, high content. It's just a whole different business model, isn't it? Like, just because the way you or the model is the same, but the way you make the books are completely different. So you kind of have to like relearn the whole process, from scratch again.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
learning all different types of design stuff. I'm learning the ins and outs of different types of puzzles. I'm like, man, like what is going on? Even some low content books and some design on that, like just completely foreign territory, but just trying to find good people, hire them out, and just do the best I can with that, which seems to be working so far. We'll see. We'll see next month how it goes.
yeah. So you're not even making those yourself, right? You just got someone like a designer or illustrator or
Yeah,
something.
I can't be messed with trying to come up with different puzzles myself and like working in book vault like I just can't do that. I can look at them and edit them and stuff and give like have an understanding and give tips to the creators, but I'm not going to be sitting around creating those. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, I think, if you're just getting started with KDP, you're on a low budget, doing everything yourself is definitely fine. But I think once you get to like $100 a month, you take that $100, start outsourcing the cover design, you get to like a couple $100 a month, and then you hire somebody for ads or whatever, right? And then you just keep reinvesting and like slowly start outsourcing more and
Yeah.
more.
I mean, my philosophy really with business in general is like if it's not worth an hour of your time, like you're going to delegate it. And that's going to be most things with this business. The editing, I do that myself because over time that can be worth an hour of my time because that can really affect how the book does for years to come, right? But you know, yeah, I would say things like that are huge. But I'm not going to do like tiny little things.
Yeah. And I think, that's definitely like as a business owner, that's the mindset you want to have. But, most people are scared that they outsource, pay somebody, for a book cover or pay somebody to do the work and they don't get a return because they don't have that business experience that we do, right? And, they don't even have the confidence that they can make it happen. Like, do you have any words of wisdom or advice for those who literally just, this is their first business, they're scared, and just not sure if this is going to work and they don't want to spend the money to outsource.
You can't play scared, man. Like, like that's it. That's one thing I've learned in all my businesses. If something scares you, you just got to kind of lean into it. And if you're sitting around playing scared for years, and you're not taking any real risks, then there's not going to be any return, right? Like, that's why for me, I saw this business, I saw the potential in it, I knew my skill set. I'm like, yo, I can dominate in this. And like I decided like I'm going to just dominate. Like that's it. And I went all in, right? And so if you don't have that mentality of like, hey, I'm gonna make this work no matter. It's like with anything in life, right? If you don't go in there with the mentality of like, hey, I'm gonna make this work no matter what, you get no chance. So you just have to know that success is coming and make sure that you're doing the things necessary to make it happen. Whether it's going, doing a little bit on your own upfront while you make more and save more money, while it's just aping in and using your free cash flow to go hard right off the bat. Whatever you got to do, just make it happen.
Yeah, for sure. And the great thing is like there's an option for both, right? You can go slow, do everything yourself pretty much for free, or you can, start hard like you. So, um, awesome stuff, man. So what's your goal? Like obviously you're building the pen name because with personal brand, like if you keep building your brand books, right? Books under your brand, it's hard to sell, you know? You can. I've actually sold a couple books under my real name too with my first account, but your goal is to sell the account, correct? In the future?
But I mean, that's one thing I'm thinking through as far as like how the next few years are going to play out. I'll probably do this at least another few years, and then I like to get it to the point where it's like a multi-million-dollar potential sale. Is that realistic on a site like Empire Flippers? I know those guys. Funny, I know those guys too. Actually, I've hung out with those guys, but we'll see. We'll see. But I'd like to get it up to 100K a month, and then where it could be sellable for 4 million plus. Um, we'll see if I can make that happen. We'll see how long that would take. Um, but but yeah, I mean, I do enjoy actually building these things out, and most of the income right now is coming from the books under the pen name. So I do think it's more sellable in that way, and it's not like I'm continuously churning books out under my name anyway. Yeah, so I mean, we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah,
But
it's really
I'll say ultimately that is the goal though. Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, I personally find KDP more fun than YouTube. Like it's the same thing, it's a
Yeah.
creative process, but for me, like I like somehow like my ideas turning into a book. Like it's more fun for me.
Well, yeah, no, it's definitely fun. And what I like about it too is like if you do it the right way, it basically solves the money problem, right? Because a lot of people they operate underneath like sort of the line of like that they're constantly worrying about money. But if you have an income source where you can make 20, 30, 40K plus a month, where it's decently passive and you're putting less than 10 hours a week into it, then it's like, okay, now you can start thinking bigger and just like do even bigger things without having to worry about the stress of like the day-to-day bills and stuff like that, right? Like that's how you kind of create more of that true freedom. And it's exactly what you've done. You started doing the royalty hero stuff, right? If you weren't making money on Amazon, obviously you wouldn't have been able to do it in the first place, but that also gave you the freedom to be able to think bigger to do that.
Yeah, for sure. I think KDP is a great way to start, and then you can transition into different businesses from there if you want to, or just do
Yeah,
KDP.
yeah,
Like people do like 100K a month, 200K a month, for KDP. By
yeah,
the way,
yeah.
I do remember seeing a account, like a KDP account on Empire Flippers that was selling for 4 million. Like I know one, and I
Do you know if
listened
it actually
to,
sold?
I don't know, it's gone. Like it's gone from the
Interesting.
marketplace. So I don't know if they sold or took it down, but it was like a children's book brand. I don't know if it's like children's, I think it's like activity book brand. And yeah, 4 million. It was crazy. It was like this German guy or something.
Interesting. Well, yeah, like I said, I know the guys from Empire Flippers, and I also know some guys who worked with them before and who kind of specialize in consulting for like basically building a sellable business. I have some good friends who've done that too. So definitely something I'll look into as well. At the same time, though, too, it is nice having the cash flow. And as long as like that keeps coming in, I mean, it's nice to have that. Keep that going for years too.
Yeah, I actually kind of regret selling my first account because like the upfront money was nice, like put me over the seven-figure net worth mark, and I kind of leveraged that to build YouTube and stuff too. But
Yeah,
honestly,
yeah.
like it's been 3 years, and that account is still making the same amount, right? Since I sold it, and the buyer didn't do anything. Like he literally just like changed the
Just let
the
it sit
author
there. Yeah.
profile picture. Like he never published a single book. All I see him do in the past 3 years is he made another blog post because I had a blog that wasn't doing anything. He made one blog post, updated the author
Big
profile
moves.
picture, and that is it, right? And it's still pulling the same amount. So it's crazy how
So
fast.
is that something that you regret selling? Like if it wasn't for you, like sort of being able to launch your business off of that, like would you have regretted selling that at that time?
Yeah, I think I had so much more potential that I could have built, keep building. Because I was doing like 40K a month. I could have easily done 100K a month. My niche, my
You're doing
competitors,
40K a month profit?
I was 40K a month revenue or so, yeah.
I know. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I think with like 20K to that was profit, and that's why you sold it for around like 800K, 8
Yeah,
900K or
it
something.
was like 25, 24, and then I had a good multiple that was valued at over $1 million. So my listing was over $1 million. But then
Yeah,
I didn't get an offer at $1 million, and I eventually kind of like
dropped
sold
down
at,
really.
yeah, I got an offer for 820K, and it was like a really good, like simple offer. So it was just like a cash deal. It was like 820, no
Yeah, yeah.
performance based, nothing. So I'm like, sure. And I think a lot of the sale came from like my intrusive thoughts and kind of like, anxiety of like, is this steady? And it's funny because like I've been doing KDP for literally like 5 years, 6 years at that point, right? So like I should know how steady it is. And yet you still like deal with that fear and insecurity and stuff. And I kind of folded, I think. I shouldn't have folded, to be honest.
Yeah, well, it's like with any business, man, right? Like you get like there's always that fear, like, oh, it's time running out. Like, is it still gonna be going on in a few years? Is it gonna run out? And sometimes that is warranted, sometimes it's not. And it's hard to always know or make the judgment call. I mean, we'll see with Amazon. I do think it's gonna be around for a while. Um, yeah, no, it's an interesting dynamic too, because I'm gonna be at that point where you sold, probably in a few months, at the at the rate that I'm going at. So I wouldn't be trying to sell it at the very earliest I would try to sell is probably like a year and a half to 2 years. Um, and hopefully I have a few new accounts built out before that. So we'll see.
For sure. Yeah, you're getting there quick, man. Even on YouTube too, same thing. It's like every video that flops, I'm like, fuck, is it done? Are no one watching my videos anymore?
YouTube's a grind, man. I remember those days making weekly YouTube videos, bi-weekly YouTube video, or yeah, when I was making 2-3 videos a week, and it's like, oh man, it's 10 out of 10 today.
Yeah.
Like it's you just have a bad day on that.
Yeah, it's constant back and forth, right? It's like if the video
Yeah,
does well, you're like on top of the moon, and yeah, it's crazy. Emotional roller coaster. Um
100%.
like going back to it, so what do you think if someone's, just getting started, right, with KDP, what do you think is your biggest advice for them?
So if someone's just getting started with KDP, what I would say is it's good if you can have a little bit of a budget to hit books with ads. Like if you can, I would say it's better instead of trying to launch like 10 at a time where you don't do it well. If you can save a few K and then like launch a book the right way, hit it with some ads and give it a shot. And then you can, after a few months, you can reinvest that. You can go a little slower. That can be a helpful thing. The other thing is like plan long term. Like I said, I go deep in the niches in the niches, right? And so whenever I'm going into a niche, I'm like, okay, I want to know that I can make at least 20 books in this, right? And then that even from that it might be able to evolve into more based on how keywords evolve, new things come up. So I go hard and I actually map it out. Like I map out what the potential profit could be based on like royalties, based on sales per day, from from the book beam stats, all that kind of stuff. So I really map it out. And so when I go into a niche, I'm like, I'm confident that number one, I can dominate this, and number two, that it has longevity, where I'm not just gonna hop around for like 1 or 2 books and then that's gonna be it. That's gonna be it. I want it to either I can go super deep or go into adjacent niches where it's gonna make sense under the same pen name. Um, that seems to have worked really well for me. And then yeah, obviously getting a coach. Like I said, I get coaches in every area. Like we built our dating business to be basically a 7-figure business right over the years. And I had a consultant the whole way through that I would talk to once a week, right? And I basically have had Charlie the whole way through building this out, right? And I've been able to bounce ideas off of him at every step of the way. So being able to have that plus all those other things has been super key.
Yeah, for sure. When you say you plan out 20 books, that's pretty hardcore, right? So are you going into relatively like big niches that, there are 20 different topics that are profitable, or do you consider adjacent niches so you can pivot a little bit, like a couple books here and a couple books there?
Well, yeah. So I consider it like adjacent niches, right? So I can't even think of like a good example right now. But if you can think, I can't think of an example without like naming the
Yeah,
niches
don't
I'm in,
reveal
right?
it. Yeah, don't
Uh,
reveal your niche.
um, but I guess like let's even say you're in a niche. What's like a common like decluttering, right?
Yeah,
Now decluttering. If you're in decluttering, what's an adjacent niche to that? It could be like anxiety or something, right? And
yeah,
so like people that buy a decluttering book probably also buy an anxiety book, right? Or like they're a similar type of audience. So that would be an example of that. And people that buy that, they might also buy like a psychology book. who might also buy like a general self-improvement book. So that would be an example of like going super deep, but you want to make sure that every keyword that you're going for actually has potential, at least some potential, 500 to 1,000 at least. And ideally, there's some of those keywords are going to have two, three, $4,000 profit potential as well.
Yeah, for sure. So you basically go as deep as possible with one niche and then you side pivot a little bit and then go as deep as possible and side pivot. And, it's kind of like Jordan Moore, right? So Jordan Moore is like the random facts guy. And then he pretty much like pumped that out like crazy. And then he side pivoted into like stories with the other brand and then interesting facts. And then like stories for seniors or something. So he has like a bunch of pen names like that. That's pretty much what you're doing, right?
I have to check that guy out, Jordan Moore. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's basically exactly it.
Sounds good. So besides the biggest tips, like, did you have any aha moment or, something that you realized throughout this business that kind of transformed how you built this and really like accelerated the growth?
Well, I would say aha moments. I just get better and better at delegating, and I tried to move as fast as I possibly could. That's one thing I've learned in other businesses is speed is always key. And I didn't want to just sit around and like have this be something that took years to build out. I knew I had this business, this dating business that I wanted to wind down, and I knew I wanted to get this going as fast as I could, right? And so like I like the number one thing I kept in mind was speed. Number two, like I guess one and one A were speed and quality. Like I always moved as fast as possible. Uh, Try to plan for that, and then quality wise, always try to make it way better than everybody else. And then overall, the strategy would just dominate any niche that I went into, and basically make people just give up. Like that was basically a strategy. Like if you try to compete with me, you're gonna lose. And you're going to lose badly, right? So that was kind of like my mindset going in, and I had some lucky breaks along the way too. Like I had a few, like I had one niche where like the top book and it dropped it, like just randomly disappeared like a week before I launched mine, and my book immediately shot to the top, and it's still sitting there, right? And then so like I got a little bit like I caught a few lucky breaks like that. But yeah, so speed, quality, uh, and then also just delegation. Like I like always making sure I had a good team. If somebody was being weird, and that's one thing I learned too, hiring for other businesses. I know when there's weirdness, I know when there's like unreliability, I know the signs to look for. Just like be quick to just cut ties with people who suck, right? And then make sure I have reliable people, guys like Ivan from Adroid, right? I've used Adroid the whole way through. That's been super, super helpful. He's super reliable, super responsive. Like it makes sure that ads run. I don't even know how to run ads. Like I don't even
Yeah.
learn. I know Charlie always says like learn it yourself. I never learned. I was like, I don't have time to do this. Like because this the speed that I wanted to do it at, I knew it that I wasn't going to be able to learn ads along the way. Maybe I will at some point, but I haven't seemed to have a pretty good handle on it. It seems to I've done pretty well so far. But yeah, so basically speed, quality, delegation. Would say those have been the three biggest things that have set the business apart. And I guess those are all kind of their own aha moments in themselves.
For sure. I got some follow-up questions on that. In terms of, creating the best quality book and just dominating the niche, what is your main strategy in having a book that stands out? Is it just, you know, more reviews and an epic cover, or do you have any other way of trying to stand out from the crowd?
So like really, really good quality writing, and like I said, it helps that I'm a really good writer myself, so I can spot it, and that I have a really good editor. I pay more. I know some people cheap out. Like I think on my books, I pay an average of like 3.5 to 5 cents a word, depending. I have some books where my writer charges 5 cents. I have another writer that does like around three, like around like closer to 4 cents. I'm fine paying 5 cents a word for like a 40,000 word book if it's going to sell. If that book's going to be making $300 $400 a day, like I'll pay $2,000 to $3,000 to get it graded. No, like I don't care. That's fine. Like that. That's like it's such a small upfront cost for like the longevity of a book like that. So I go hard on the actual, like I just go hard on the quality, make sure every part of the quality is good from the cover to the lead magnets. I have a copywriter that outlines every single, I'll outline like an email sequence. that I do to get reviews. So I make sure that's point. Even like the email lead magnet PDFs are all super on point, super well designed, super high quality. Every part of the process is very, very high quality, from the writing to to everything else in between, to the cover and everything. So that's really key.
Gotcha. Yeah. So just basically like super, super high quality books and stand out
And then
along
also like really, really good descriptions. And I make sure the cover is by far and away the best.
the line.
And sometimes I'll even adjust it if I think it can perform better after the fact. Like I've updated a few covers after the fact to make sure that they stay on point, which has helped the conversion rates with those.
Mm-hmm. What is your team setup like right now?
It's like a mixture of Upwork and random guys I know that I talk to on WhatsApp, like my email my email copywriter and I have an email copywriter, I have a description copywriter as well. I have some people on Fiverr, like my A+ guys. I get some illustrations for some of my books on Fiverr as well. That also helps them stand out too. Like sometimes for certain books, I'll get illustrations at the beginning of the chapter to make sure like it just really pops. So I basically it's kind of sprinkled through Upwork, my own personal connections, and Fiverr.
Yeah, makes sense. Awesome, man. Well, sounds like you're absolutely crushing it. I can't wait to see that 100K dashboard in December. We'll do another interview when that happens. Um, but is there anything else that you want to cover before we end this?
Well, yeah, I mean, I know you touched on it before, but I think like Amazon itself is a super passive business, and it's been good for me because sometimes the dating business I was doing, high ticket coaching for dating coaching clients, like that could be a little high stress from time to time. And this has been way more chill. Like I've been way less stressed on like my day to day life, which has been really nice. And now it's also given me like the time and the motivation and also like the relaxing income to be now I'm starting to leverage this into potentially like my next business, which is going to be being able to just publish books for people where that's it's a little bit of a different thing, like to where I'm using all this publishing knowledge that I've built up to then create like a book in a box sort of business where influencers come to us. We basically create every step of the process, get it on bestseller list, that kind of thing, and go from there. And that's like a much higher ticket thing. So that's kind of the next step for me. That's why I've been going so hard with creating all these books, so that way I can have extra time to dedicate to doing that too. We'll see how that plays out. I think it could be. I think you're going to be able to like it's like I would say with Amazon, this has been really good, and it's allowed me to take a moonshot with this next business to where it can go from a few 100K a month potential or more to maybe a few million a month. We'll see how it goes. But definitely have Amazon to thank for that, and the program as well. So it's been awesome.
Yeah, glad to hear, man. I think the new business idea, like basically doing publishing services for other people, is an amazing business. I know a lot of people doing this, and it's very, very profitable because it's like complete done for you. It's just more stressful, right? Because it's a service business compared to like doing KDP. So
Yeah, well, that's another thing where it's like you're just going to delegate as much as you can. You're going to build a process. It takes a little bit of work up front, but then keep delegating, building a team. That's going to be the key.
for sure, for sure. That kind of brings me to another question I forgot to ask you. How is life like now? Now that you got a successful KDP business, it's doing well.
I mean, I'll be honest, man, it's always been good over the last like 10, like I've been traveling the world for like 10 years, right? Since back in 2014, first copywriting, dating coaching, now this. But I will say, just in general, like I said, just there's been way less stress. And then it's also allowed me to transition from one successful business. I've seamlessly transitioned to the next. It was actually kind of funny because as this other business was winding down and we've been wrapping it up, like the day that like it was basically the same month that we decided to wrap that up. Like this business took off and made over like 13K, and now it's on pace. Within a few months, it obviously be killing it, right? And even killing it now. So yeah, just way less stress, way less BS that I have to deal with. It's just nice, man. And
Yeah.
and it makes travel a bit easier too, right? When you don't have to run meetings every day or hop on calls all the time, it's easier to just travel around, do your things, spend time with friends. I'm playing basketball 3-4 times a week, playing football once a week. I've kind of jokingly entertain the idea of trying out for the Mexican American football team they have down here in Mexico City, trying to play quarterback. I've actually trained up with the quarterback over here who plays for the team. Um, but you can just kind of do stuff like that when you have a lot more free time and you have the flexibility that Amazon gives you. So yeah, just less stress, more free time, and just more adventure in life.
Yeah, I completely agree. And the location freedom is a big one too, right? So you can just like take your business and move anywhere. Like I lived in Bali and mainly Southeast Asia, where I started, but I definitely want to check out Latin America, which is where you're at right now, right? So you're
Pop
in,
down to Mexico City, man. I'll have to show you the ropes.
yeah, I would love to check it out. Is Mexico City your favorite location or base?
I think lifestyle wise, I think it's on point. Especially like if you're a guy, well, yeah, I would say whether you're single or in a relationship, it can be good. Even if you're a girl, there's a lot of like women over here too that from America, from different parts of the world that come over here. Lot of gringos in general, we call them down here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's I live right next to a really nice park. I just go walk around every day, play sports like weekly. There's good groups of people here. There's good groups of entrepreneurs. The food scene is good. It's sort of like expensive wise. It's like a tier two U.S. city, just like a bit of a better quality of life than that. And the weather generally is pretty good all year round. You have rainy season and stuff, but even then, it only rains a few hours a day. So for a few months, right? So it's good. Yeah, I can't. I've lived all over the world. I always come back to Mexico City, so I can't complain.
Yeah, I would love to check it out. What are your like top three countries? So Mexico City is number one, or it's not a country, but like, a place. What are the other two that you recommend?
Man, it depends if you're single or your relationship, right? As a guy, because
Yeah.
like the cities can vary drastically. But I would say
Yeah.
like overall, Mexico City is definitely part of the top three if you talk about like lifestyle wise. I actually liked Bogota, Colombia a lot.
Okay.
There's a few different cities that are good in Colombia, and like but Bogota is a really cool city. The weather's not always great there, but it's just a cool quality of life. A lot better if you're single, I would say. Like you probably enjoy it much more if you're single than a relationship. That
Yeah.
one. And then I mean I like Bangkok and I like Ho Chi Minh City, over there in Vietnam and Thailand. Those are a lot of fun. I know you spend a lot of time there. I've never been to Bali, for that's good. Europe, I was a big fan of Berlin when I was over there. I was a big fan of I like Sevilla, which is
Mm.
cool, chill, great if you're in a relationship. So I would say those are probably some of my top spots. I like the U.S. too, man. I like living in Austin, places like that too. But I slightly favor more living outside the U.S. just because U.S. just doesn't have the value for the money anymore as it used to. Even if you're making a lot, it's like it just goes so much further and outside of the U.S. and inside of it, and just less
Yeah.
BS you have to deal with.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like the US is actually nice. Like, my family's in Hawaii, right? So Hawaii's pretty damn nice. But it's just it's really, really expensive. And at this point, obviously I can afford it, but it's painful to see the taxes and the money go out when I'm like not getting as much value as if I live somewhere else. Like in Bali, I feel like it's so much more convenient in Bali or Thailand or anywhere else that I live. Plus, like there's everything there within like a closer proximity, and at least where I lived in Hawaii, everything was super far. So I've like the quality of life for me, besides the weather, because Hawaii weather is just absolutely amazing, right? It has been better in like where I lived overseas, and yeah, it's so much cheaper. So it's been working out for me.
Well, the cool thing about a lot of these cities, man, it's like they're very walkable. I'm over here in Mexico City. I don't even have to take an Uber almost ever. Like I like everything is within a 15-minute walk for me, right? And that's a lot of these cool cities outside the US. It's way more walkable. You get more exercise, you feel better, you get more sunlight. Uh, versus like in the US, there's not a lot of walkability outside certain cities.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Walkability is huge too. Like I like it when there's everything on one street, so that I can just like
Yeah,
walk.
yeah.
One,
You have your cafe, your gym, nightlife, restaurants. They all be
yeah.
on the same street or the same like 10-minute zone. That's the most ideal.
Yeah, there was one time I lived in Penang, Malaysia for a month, and then I had my condo, and then 2-minute walk from there was this shopping mall, right? And then on the first floor there was like four cafes, nice ones too. So I would work there. And then there was a shopping center or grocery store inside, and the top floor was a gym. So I literally for the whole month I never left this 2-minute walk radius, and I just, stay there. It was nice. I like it.
Ideal for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Awesome, man. Well, it was really nice talking to you. Really great to hear that you're succeeding. Super happy. to see students succeed. So we'll end the call here, but definitely keep us posted on your progress and how December does. And yeah, nice talking to you, man.
We'll do for sure. Thanks for having me.
All right, guys. So for those who are watching in the Road Hero program, hope you enjoyed it. For those who are watching on the YouTube side, if you guys want to check out Road Hero, the link is in the description below. And yeah, we'll end the call here. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.